Welcome. I trust you are well. I certainly am. Welcome to my channel. It's called Be in the Garden. I'm in my garden today. This channel really is all about me exploring the garden, doing odd jobs in the garden, trying to grow vegetable plots, which I've done successfully over many years now actually. In my garden I don't use any pesticides or any chemicals. It's an organic garden. And I just try to encourage nature to be here. So that's what my channel is all about: being in the garden, being in nature, and just connecting with nature, getting in the fresh air. There's an aeroplane up above, I can't help that, but often you just hear the beautiful sound of the birds in the garden. So today I've got a project to get on with. I've got lots of jobs to be doing in the garden at this time of year. So at the start of the year, it's often a great time to be in the garden if you can. For some, I know they'll be in their allotments, for example, because the garden looks washed out. We've had torrential rain here. We've had floods. We've had, in the UK, by the way, we've had trees being blown down and all sorts. The ground is really very wet, but there's still a lot I find that I can do in the garden at this time of year. A lot of it also is just tidying up. The trees I'm planting today are Betulus, Jack Montii, or the silver birch. I already have some in the garden, but I purchased some more, and I think they will look beautiful in this particular situation if I have more of them. Can never have too much in a garden, right? We have the silver birch. When they're young, the bark sort of fawn in colour, but as they mature, the silver birch become that spectacular sort of white bark. And what I've got for underneath that are some hellebore, and it's the white hellebore, and they will look fantastic with each other. So that's what I'm doing today. Come join me. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please help push the subscriptions up by subscribing if you haven't already. I do appreciate you, each and every single one of you. Share, like, leave me a comment. This is a family friendly channel and everybody's encouraged to be here, and I'm just here to try and encourage people to get out in the garden, get some fresh air, build communities if you can. So here I go, let me get some worked up. See you in a moment. I have lots of plants here waiting for me, the hellebore, and they are just absolutely delightful. Look at it from the base, look at the stems, almost look like that rhubarb, don't they? Don't they remind you of the colours of the rhubarb or Swiss chard? Then you've got the green leaves, and then with these ones I've got white flowers. Although they've not been planted in, the bees are already coming out and taking the pollen from these plants. So I'm just going to put these to the side for a moment. Speaking of bees, did you hear that? There's a bee just buzzing around me right now. And this is the hellebore from previously. So I've had some in this space before. And aren't they just doing a great job of bringing light into the garden? So if I just put these aside first. So there's a patch here and there's also another patch here. So I'm already in an area where I have had hellebore in the past, and these are planted into the ground already, and they're fantastic. Back here I've actually got some burgundy hellebore as well, but what I need to do is just go and get my secateurs, because I'm going to actually trim off the leaves to expose the flowers a little bit more. Okay, so I've got my secateurs, and all I'm going to do is trim back the leaves. I really should have done this, or I could have done it in November time, so that by this time of year, the new year, January, then the flowers would just be all exposed, ready for the bees to come and take pollen from. This does not harm the plant in any way. I'll leave one or two leaves possibly, but certainly the majority of them I will remove to expose shows the beauty of the flowers. And at this time of year, it's such a joy to see flowers, because often there's not a lot of flowers to be seen in the UK at this time. But that said, actually, I take that back. There are opportunities to have flowers. They may not be bold and big flowers. Things like the Hamamella mollis. Hamamella mollis. Have I said it correctly? Tiny flowers, but perfect at this time of year for beneficial insects that are looking for energy and food. So I've got another hellebore here. This one's got burgundy flowers. I've also got this comfrey around it. That's sort of overwhelming it slightly, but there is a display. That way it just allows the flowers to pop more. You can see them a bit more visually now. I've got another bunch here, and I'm going to do the same here. There don't appear to be as many flowers in this area, but I'm going to cut some of the leaves back still, so that as and when the buds in this one come through, it'll be a bit more visual and obvious. I won't take them all out, but I will take the majority of them out. Okay, there's another little bunch at the back, just here. I'm going to just trim some of those leaves back. And this one has got more blossom. Right, not sure what that is. That can go. Okay, there we have it. Right. So here are some of the Jackmontii that I've already planted, and they've been growing beautifully. The young ones, I mean, it's only maybe the trunk is as thick as my small finger. The trunk is only as thick as my small finger at the moment. And when it's only that thick, the trunk, as you can see, is more brown in colour. But as it matures and gets larger, as you can see in this trunk, oops, I'm fighting with the branches. And this one is as thick, perhaps, as an index finger. Then you can start seeing it starting to turn the whitish colour, and it will just get whiter and whiter as they become more and more mature. So what I'm going to do now in this corner, or in this area, it's not particularly a corner, is dig some holes to put in the additional Jackmontii. There's a large one here in the bucket and another one here. I'm just going to start digging some holes here. Oh, and the bees are coming. Oh, that's lovely. The bees are coming to see the flowers. Oh, I'm so happy. I've got to bring you to this. Look at this. I haven't even planted them in and the bees are here already. And that's why it's lovely to have flowers that flower all through the year. I know even myself, when I first started my garden, I used to focus just really in the summer months. Oh my gosh, and there's a robin just here. Bear with me, I'll see if I can. She's just flown on a little bit. But it's lovely being in the garden. There she is. when you come to the garden, they come and keep you company as well. And when you're just moving things around, you expose food for them. And it's just great. The benefits of being in the garden far exceed anything I could ever imagine. Um, just the wellness you feel from being in the garden, and then the joy of seeing things like the robins and the blue tits have been out in numbers today, and then seeing the bees already. It's just perfect. It's really perfect. And then, of course, we're speaking of the wellness. It is, for me, or for us, we're a community as we, help nature and do add some positive things back into nature, because all too often, myself included, we are consumers, and in doing so, we often, cause, some level of damage to the environment, by driving, purchasing, all of those things, and just by taking a moment perhaps to think of nature on a bigger scale, by buying plants. And there's another bumblebee just here, buying plants that can help to enrich the environment, then we're doing a great thing. If we can do that as well as humans, that's a great thing. So I'm just going to start digging. I haven't got my favourite shovel. I think I must have left it at a customer's place. I've got so many shovels, but I have a favourite shovel, and I can't seem to locate it just yet. And honestly, if you can just hear the sound of the bees in these plants here, you'll realise that it's a great choice I've made by choosing to have Helleborus as an under plant. Lots of stones here. Definitely a lot of stones in here. hold on, I'm just going to sit back and watch for a moment. And I have a feeling that the robin will come over in just a while. Told you, didn't I tell you? She's gorgeous, and I've just had to sit there so patiently just watching, and within 5 minutes of just sitting she came, right? And that's what I mean about being in nature, being in the garden. You connect with nature and nature with you. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that robin's feast. She's just hovering around, but I've just got to get on with the job now. But that was a joy to watch. And there were others around as well, but they were not as brave as she. This one, oh, I'm going to have to give it a little stomp. It's a little stuck. To loosen it from the pot. Not yet. sanctuaries. I've dug the hole. And generally speaking, you dig a hole twice the size of the pot and slightly deeper, but twice the size, just so that when the roots start to grow, they have got, you know, some loose soil around the side here. Let's see if I can get the camera in a better angle. Twice the size if possible, so that down here you've got some loose soil around here and it's not stuck in compact soil. Also, when you dig, you want to try and make sure that you dig so that the soil in the pot ends up being level with the soil where you're planting it, more or less about level. If it goes too deep and then you cover it back with soil, you could potentially rot the trunk, so you don't want the trunk to be submerged any lower, and if it's too high up, then the roots will not be able to grow. So I've got it about the level I want to, but in the same time I'm also going to put some hellebore around the side of this plant, so just taking advantage. So I'm going to backfill gently around the edges. And then when it gets to a certain depth, I'm going to also add the hellebore. With the hellebore, I'm just going to slightly loosen the roots and plant them around the base of that tree. Oh, I just scared the robin away. She just came back for some more. Hey Robin, she's just hovering around. She knows that there's plenty of food here for her. A free buffet. Okay, I'm just going to loosen the roots on the hellebore and push them into the sides. Okay, let's just bring the camera out to give me some space to work. Just going to backfill around the betulus. And then pop in some more hellebore. And the robin is just making her rounds. He's probably asking me to hurry up and get out so that she can come and feast a bit more. Just using my heel to backfill. So you want to compress the soil around. majority out, but I need to make sure that this bench fits back in that space. Yes. Okay, so the last one has to be on the outer side. Do you get an idea of what's going on here now? I'll secure the bench up properly, but you've got the Jack Montii or the silver birch on either side of the bench, and they are surrounded by hellebore. So another area in the garden. Still going to just finish a little bit, and then that just is another tick box of things to do in the garden. Okay, I'll come back to you in a moment. As if on cue, it's just starting to drizzle, but I have at least got these planted out. And as always, the camera doesn't show them off as beautifully as the naked eye is seeing them. The robin continues to visit, and she really wants me to go so that she can take advantage of the food that there is. She's up here in the tree at the moment, singing the most beautiful song, and she just wants me to go so that she can have a meal. Bless her. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Be in the garden. Be out in nature.